today just because I get to talk about numbers a little bit. We have some really fun slash scary numbers to look at for some scenarios that we've been through. But also, next week is Turkey Day. So
Yep.
Thanksgiving is next week. We
It's
were
my favorite holiday.
yeah. You've always said it's favorite holiday compared to Christmas, especially. It's like Christmas without
It's
the
all
chaos of Christmas.
all of the things that Christmas should be without the chaos of having to give gifts.
Exactly.
So not that I don't mind giving gifts. It's just like I just want to spend time with you.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway,
But anyway, we're thank you guys for coming on to because we know that next week is a busy time in terms of holiday travel and all things. So you're probably trying to wrap things up today and tomorrow before that happens. We're excited to bring you some metrics because these metrics will matter as you go into the new year and you start reviewing the past year and actually get some real numbers and doesn't mean anything. So super excited to have you guys on.
I will say for this particular webinar, this is going to be a little lighter. And I don't mean in content, I mean in consumption. We're not asking you to do anything crazy. We're going to spend a lot of time on the thought process behind what you're looking at in your marketing. So we'll call this the dessert.
The dessert.
This isn't the vegetable tray. This is the dessert
The
tray.
dessert.
So,
All right.
why don't we go ahead and get started? Again, welcome to the webinar. We're glad to have you. Value versus vanity metrics. A real quick introduction. My name is Nick. This is Michael. I'm originally from Memphis, Tennessee. Been here in Birmingham, Alabama for about 15 years. We started the agency Patient Care Marketing Pros about 6 years ago.
Okay.
Maybe just under 6 years ago. But I've been in the marketing and advertising space now for going on 15 years, which is kind of wild for me to say. And I think the gray in my beard in this picture is starting to show why. Michael, say hi.
Yeah, so Michael Ray, I do the operations side of the business. I've been in the digital marketing website world since 2011. Born and raised in Alabama, not Roll Tide, not Auburn War Eagle. It's Go Blazers.
There you
But
go.
anyway, I've been doing this for a while. Like I said, we started up the patient care side about 6 years ago, and we love you guys. Love the urgent care space, and the metrics today will show you are just like these are things we've learned.
Absolutely. So, a couple of things before we get started. There is a chat up. We want you to be able to drop your questions in there, and we will have a dedicated Q&A time at the end of the session.
Yep.
And we're happy to go through any of the questions that you have. If you have a notepad or a device to take some notes, this would be a great time to do it. We do a really good job, or at least try to, of sending out slides and notes from this afterwards. So you should have that. In order to minimize distractions, the best thing I can tell you to do is put everything in some type of a focus mode. If you're gonna put the time in to be here, we want you to get the most out of it. And I know I get distracted easy. Try and stay for the full time. We got some good stuff at the end. This is not a sales pitch webinar. This is an opportunity to help you grow your clinic. What just happened there?
No, sorry, I was checking something.
Okay.
Anyway,
all right. So what I think you're going to walk away with is vanity versus value metrics, what the differences are. Some of the most important KPIs for your clinic going into 26. We want you to know how to track these cost per leads and acquisition costs and ROI. Really, more than not how to track it, but just the thought process behind it. All right. Why less data with better insights, and then how to hold your team or your agency accountable for real results. We'll have a link for you with resources at the end. So I am excited to announce this particular thing, probably the only salesy thing I'm going to do, even though it's not a sale, it's get on a wait list. In 2026, we're going to be doing our inaugural clinic growth mastermind. I can give you all the details there on the screen, but what I really want to give you is the thought process behind it. With the Urgent Care Association doing the amazing work that they do in advocacy, and the little, I say little, but the micro events, the regional UCAs all across the country, one thing seems to be lacking, and that is a growth-minded group of people that are there to help each other grow their clinics.
Yep.
So what we're doing is we're inviting clinic owners or practice owners to come to Birmingham, and we are going to open up the books and say, this is what's working for us. This is what's not working for us. And we're going to help each other grow. It is a true mastermind of helping lift everybody up.
Yeah. The goal is we're actually going to have real conversations where you're not coming in and talking to competitors, because whether you like it or not, urgent cares, you're not competing with an urgent care in a different state, but you can learn from each other. So the goal is to have urgent care owners from single location to multi-location, everything in between, those who may have sold and got back into the business, all the different items, because our goal is that you guys all have problems, right? There's always something going on in your clinic that you wish you could solve and you wish you had an answer for. And this mastermind, because we do a mastermind for our agencies, right? So
Correct.
this is kind of where the idea was born from, where we can sit down with competing agencies at a table and solve each other's problems because, hey, been there, done that. This is what we did. You should try that. And that's the same idea here, where we know you have challenges and we know there are answers out there because you're not the first time to experience the challenge, and hoping somebody at that table will give you guidance of what they did to get you over that hump.
And no matter what you've heard about Birmingham, it's one of the coolest cities in America.
We have great food.
We do have good food. All right. So, as always, we're here to help you get more patients, deliver better care, get repeat visits, and scale your clinics. Everything that we do in our webinars and our podcasts and even our marketing is designed to help do these things. With that, Michael, let's kick us off.
Yeah. So, let's actually get into the vanity versus value. Vanity is something that we kind of laugh at in our industry because it is the most pretty. That's why it's called vanity. The most pretty metrics you could see. Here's the key ones that you probably get in your reporting all the time is impressions, clicks, likes, reach, number of followers. They look cool, right? Where, hey, I got you 100,000 impressions and 4,000 clicks and 27 likes this week. Sounds amazing. But the problem with vanity metrics in general is that they don't actually mean anything in terms of dollars back into your clinic. It doesn't matter if you had 1 million impressions, but not a single person booked, because Google or Facebook will do that for you if you have it set up completely wrong, because they're there to make money off of you. So that's something that we're trying to focus on because we see it all the time when we see reporting come in from different agencies. So like, hey, we're picking up a potential new client. They said, well, here's what the last report my agency gave me. And of course, it's always highlighting impressions and clicks, click-through rates, all these things. And we're like, well, that's cool. That's a cool benchmark, but it doesn't mean anything. And so that's what our goal today is to kind of educate you guys on what does it mean when I have impressions versus all these other items. And the quick answer is this list in front of you right now is cool looking, but doesn't actually help your business, if ever.
I'd say vanity metrics brand your business, and what we're going to be talking about is value metrics that grow your clinic.
Well, and even for us, so like when we like run ads, impressions mean something to us to make sure that the campaigns are being seen. But that's all we really care about. Like, we're like, okay, yeah, it's being seen, cool. That's all we care about, the impression side. And each layer is a little bit different, but we care about the end result. And that's what we're talking about today. All right, so that's the vanity metric. I hope that makes sense. You probably have heard it before. If you got questions, make sure you fire them off in the chat, and Hannah will make sure she'll have them for us to review. Next is the value metric. So this is where it actually makes a little more sense now. So cost per lead, conversion rate. So on conversion rate, like did they actually, when they clicked the ad, that's not the conversion, from clicking to actually taking an action, like they called you or they booked an appointment, that's a conversion rate, right? And then cost per patient acquisition, like how much did it cost to get that patient to interact with you guys? Because that really does matter. Lifetime patient value, this one's super interesting because we have limitations on how far we see a patient come back in because we talk about repeat visitors all the time. You know, that patient may have come in for that one visit, but how often do they come back? You know, that actually makes a big difference where that patient may be worth $200 today, but maybe they come back X amount of times and worth thousands later. You have to look at that. And because there may be a certain type of patient you want the most of. Booked appointments, of course, matters. Search visibility matters. These are things where are you showing up where you're supposed to? And then I think booked appointments is probably one of the biggest piece that we can see. And of course, actual patients coming in your door, which we talk about daily patient volume all the time. All right, so this is the value side. And, you know, basically, if you're buying marketing, like buying from us or buying from anybody, can you tie a dollar amount? Did they make you money or did you lose money with them? And that's where the value side comes into play. All right. Real world example. I'm not joking. This is a real world example. I didn't just throw up these numbers for kicks and giggles. This was based on an audit that we did of an existing urgent care, 8 location urgent care. These numbers are they're kind of insane, but it's real. So this is where the vanity issue comes up. 167,000 impressions in 30 days. Sounds amazing. I had 167,000 eyeballs look at my ad. Whoa, that's cool.
Right. Could be.
I feel like at the old movie. 13,600 clicks. Oh, that's a big number too. That's so cool. spent $117,000 over 30 days. That's insane. By the way, you really don't need to spend that type of money on 8 locations to get, and if you did and you did it right, it would be amazing.
I'd
But
say you could spend somewhere between 8 and 15,000 on that many locations.
yeah, you could and make an impact. Anyway,
Yeah.
$117,000 over 30 days, which is an insane amount of money. 437 patients booked. Doesn't even mean that they actually came into the clinic. We just saw like the conversion, 437 conversions.
We didn't do this, by the
By
way.
the way, this is just when we did an audit. This is an audit of an account. They're becoming a client, by the way. Anyway, cost per patient, $267 plus. This is terrible because you look at the front end, 167,000 impressions. Well, that sounds super cool. There's that Vanity metric kicking in hard. Man, I saw that many people saw my ad. Boil it down to the actual value metric, $267 a patient. Well, they're losing money.
You're paying that patient to come in and see you.
Yeah, you're literally paying the patient $100 more than what they're paying you to come see you. That's a losing. I literally, when I saw this go through in the audit, I was like, how have they survived for 5 years? Like, how does this even function? And it's just one of the things, like, it's just hard to kind of comprehend. Anyway, so I just want to expose that, saying this is an extreme example. It's a real one. So there's some out there that probably have seen this before. And it's just that classic. It's one of those, they set it up and just said, whatever Google recommends, we'll go for it. And they just kept pressing apply all. And Google wants your money. So they're going to keep increase. Oh, you need more budget. You need
Sorry,
more
Google
budget.
is like a 16-year-old child.
Yeah, they're sucking your budget right out. So
They
anyway,
will drain your wallet.
this is a real example. This is a real problem. I wish I was making this up, but I'm not. And there you go. All right. Let's roll into we love having a question, breaking up the sections a little bit here. So first question out of the gate. So Hannah just threw it on your screen. What's your number one marketing metric right now? Impressions, clicks, cost per lead, cost per patient acquisition, lifetime patient value. We'll let it run for just a second. All right. So we'll get the result in just a second. But I'll tell you though, and we know that people, cool. Cost per patient acquisition is number one choice there, which is cool to see. That's actually really great to hear. I was going to get concerned if impression clicks became the bigger response, but you guys are looking at the right things, which we do appreciate. All right. So the hidden cost. So hidden cost side of things. So why Vanity measures distract urgent cares? It kind of goes back to, it looks so cool. Like it looks like we're doing all the right things. Like, yeah, we increased the ad spend and boom, our impressions and clicks went up. Or we see this quite a bit. The reporting that the dashboard that the agency gave you has all these metrics. Like we use AT Analytics. You can build out a report with 150 metrics, but it's just noise at that point. Like
Right.
it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't filter anything truly. If we had our ways, we would just 100% say how many patients per day are you getting, but we have to pull that from the clinic themselves. But yeah, you can get really, because we've even seen it where a particular ad group throws everything off because the impressions were like high on one and it caused the other side to not look as good. So you have to go through the noise to find the real answer. And that's one of the challenges where it's super easy to report on these items that have all these big numbers because it makes the agency look really good, or the effort that you made looks really good. Even Facebook, when you're inside their ad platform, they're going to focus on some things, and then you have to dig a little deeper to see the actual leads that were being created because they like showing off those good numbers because they want to keep you going, right? Like that's part of the goal. Anyway, and then it will force you to say, well, if I added another $1,000 a month, I got that much more impressions and clicks, maybe I should add some more. Like, no. Let's see did they actually create more conversions, or did it distract you and create the same amount of conversion and just cost you more money?
Well, I know in Facebook, when I'm setting up a Facebook ad or a meta ad, when I'm dialing in the audience, it'll tell you this is your audience size, which is a complete vanity metric.
Yeah. Like who cares? And it's real. And even Google will say, here's the recommended budget. Here's recommended budget. I've never seen it say you have too much budget. I don't think I've ever seen that.
It never
right?
will.
It never will. Now we've seen campaigns not spend the budget, but that's pretty rare too. But no, those platforms, they're there to make money and they want your money and they're going to make it seem like you have to spend every dime you have. And there's always going to be somebody else out trying to outspend you somewhere. But if you're smart about it, you don't burn your dollars just to make yourself feel better ultimately. Anyway, So I wanted to focus on that for just a second. Yeah. So when you start chasing, like I was saying, you start chasing the clicks instead of the patients, you just start burning dollars. And then all of a sudden your profitability is not going up. It's just laying flat or going down, but you're spending more money, but nothing's resulting from that. I mean, we see that ourselves. Like when we increase ad spend for our own sales to help find urgent cares, like we have to be careful. Like if we just keep increasing, or we just is the thing just spending dollars at that point and not really actually helping things out. Like even in our world, we love the conversion cost to be at a certain level, right? And then when we see it go above a certain level, we want to say, hey, there might be an issue here. Let's not just increase ad spend. Let's focus on refining what we have first.
Right.
And that's business, right? Where you can't just keep throwing dollars at it and it'll just magically work. You know, you have to be very careful with the dollars you put out there. So, all right. Next question that we have in place here. How confident are you in your current marketing data? Data.
That depends on if it's Star Trek or real world.
Yeah. Yeah.
Data is a cyborg. Data is information you can use.
You know, I used to work for an IT company they all said Southern Data.
Southern Data. I like that. That's good.
And that's just the way it is. Anyway, so confident, very confident, somewhat not. I'll just look at the reports. So we'll give y'all just a second to go through that. And then we'll come back to the answer. Somewhat confident.
I like that. That's cool.
Go. That's an honest answer, right?
I think if I were to look at that, I would say, hey, listen, I think I know what I'm looking at, but I'm not 100% sure of some of these other areas. Let's keep going.
Nice.
Awesome. So I want to take a few minutes and talk about the 6 value metrics that actually matter to your clinic. And it works on multi-clinics too. That keeps clicking over there for some reason. All right. So here's the first value metric we want to look at, and that is the cost per lead. The cost per lead is just simply the cost to generate a lead into your clinic. I think the most important thing here when you're putting this metric together is to understand and define what a lead is to you. I can tell you what it is for us, the agency. We want to know, did the money, the cost, the investment lead in a phone call? Did it lead in a request for directions to your clinic, or did it go to your scheduler page? Due to HIPAA compliance, a lot of times you can't track on the back end of that. If you know how to set that up internally, though, that's a great way to do it too, is you want to set up that conversion, the cost per lead on whether or not they actually went through the entire process. But at the end of the day, it's still a lead. You have not acquired them until they come into your clinic. Okay.
Real.
So going to the next one, cost per patient acquisition. Outside of the urgent care space, it would be called a customer acquisition cost, which is how most CPAs and all of that's how they're going to view that. But for us, we're going to say cost per patient acquisition. And we have some numbers at the end of the slide talking about what these metrics should look like from a dollar perspective. But this is the cost for a patient to come through your doors. This isn't just a lead. This is a converted lead, right? So we want to know what is the true ROI of your marketing. And if you don't know your actual patient acquisition cost, you'll never know. Here's the best way to do this, by the way. Take the total amount of dollars that you put into your marketing. And I'm not just talking about the ad spend. I'm talking about the total investments. Do you have somebody that you pay for social media? Do you have somebody that you, an agency? What is their cost? What is the cost on ad spend? All of these things should add up and then divide it by the number of patients that you got that month. Now, better if you know that they came from these certain channels, and we'll talk about that. So what is the conversion rate? All right. These you really want to break down by source anyway, whether you're running Google ads, search engine optimization, do you have a postcard outreach that you do? All of these different sources. But what is the conversion rate? Basically is if 1,000 people saw my ad, how many of those turned into a lead? That is your conversion rate. All right. So I saw 22 patients. I'm sorry. I got 22 leads and 1,000 people clicked on my ad, then your conversion rate is 22%. And that's strong. That's strong. So we want to let you diagnose the funnels that you're using. The reason you want to know this is so that you can take, all right, this ad is working based on this landing page that they're going to, and they're booking visits on this page. You want to know what's working so you can refine that. All right. And we want to track by channel. Again, this is going to be your Google ads, your SEO, your outreach, your boots on the ground.
Yep.
Right. All right. Number 4 is the lifetime patient value. Saw a number on this the other day. Wish I could tell you what it was for every single clinic in every situation. But if you're looking at the lifetime value typically is a 5-year span for a patient. That's how often people stay in a CRM or a system, right? So if the customer lifetime value, I'm sorry, if the time frame is 5 years
Mhm.
and they're coming to the clinic twice a year,
There you go.
right? So you're looking at an average visit of 10 visits a year. I'm sorry, 10 visits total for that client, and then you multiply it times $100, then your lifetime value is $1,000. If it's $120, then it's 1,200.
Yep.
Right. So that's the way you come up with the lifetime value of your patient. Even better, if you can tie that lifetime value to who they bring in. Are they bringing in their spouse? Are they bringing in their children? These type of things that can increase the lifetime value. The other thing that can increase the lifetime value is the ancillary services that you may offer. Do you offer weight loss? Do you offer other types of services that would bring them in for something other than an immediate need?
Well, we even see that too in our tracking where if we were able to track the initial phone call that they made.
Right.
We have something in our software called patient or journey, client call journey,
Call journey. Yep.
and it shows they went back and made the same call. So we have a couple of clinics that are 3, 4+ years old, and we have some patients that call back in, and we can scroll back years and see like, oh, so we generated them originally, and they keep coming back into our system every 6 months or every year pretty consistently, and they have different needs every time.
You bring up a fun point there that we don't have in the slideshow, but thank you for doing this. And that is a original lead or a unique lead versus a repeat lead.
Yeah.
And if you're on Ring Central or Weave or you name it, something like that for your phone system, it's going to tell you if you go in and look, it should tell you if it's a unique call or a repeat call. Those repeat calls, you're like, oh, I paid for a repeat call. Maybe you did, but it's worth it. They came back.
About what, and that's the thing too that we remind our urgent cares. Branding is so difficult in your niche and so or industry, and so people don't fully remember where they went every time,
Right.
or they can't even tell you where they're going. They just know they're going to that urgent care, and they can't tell you other than when they get the bill. And so that's that part where like it may be a repeat, but it may have been totally unique to them because they don't remember a year ago where they went.
Well, here's another thing you really have to pay attention to as well is that very few people go to michaelsurgentcare.com.
No, they don't.
What they do is they go to their search bar and put in Michael's Urgent Care, and then they click on what would appear to be Michael's Urgent Care, which if it's on Google, if you're running ads properly, you're going to be at the top of the page. They're just going to click that. You're going to pay for it again.
Yeah.
So no way to combat that. Here's the reason you want to run ads on your name anyway. This is free. You didn't pay for it, but you're getting it. This is why you run what we call brand defense ads, where you run at least $100 or something like that on your own brand, because if not, your competitors will.
Yeah.
All right. So value number 5 is booked appointments from the marketing. Again, at the end of the day, we want to know who booked an appointment. Now, this isn't an acquisition cost, but you do want to know who booked. So if I generated 100 phone calls, we know somewhere to the tune of 65 to 70%, based on all of the data that we have, 65 to 70% of those are going to book an appointment either over the phone, or they're going to walk in, or they're going to hit your online scheduler and book. But you need to know that number. What is the number of booked appointments that originated from your marketing efforts? Leads are great. I get it. They're fun. They look good. Again, leads, if not careful, can also be a vanity metric.
Yeah.
Right. But we still want to measure those leads.
Yep. Yep. And when the book visit, and we also recognize too, a booked appointment doesn't necessarily mean a patient. There's a really good chance for sure, but it is something because there's just limitations. Like there's no clean way of saying that patient actually connect all the way back. You know, PHI is just a challenge with all that.
I will say this though, the clinics that really have it together, they go through their online scheduler and they say, these are the 10 that booked today, or the 20 or the 50 or whatever that booked today. And these are the ones that showed. And they send a text message or they make a phone call to the ones that didn't and say, hey, I saw you booked, but you didn't make it in. Did you get the care that you needed?
Yeah. And that's,
you want to talk about showing some care.
Yeah. And we actually see that quite a bit. Just to let you know, so we do some front desk training, and one of the big things we'll push on, and this is like an extra bonus pro piece because you have to be very intentional with it.
Right.
They missed an appointment. If your system doesn't have a way to reach back out to them immediately after 15 minutes, or at least tell your front desk to call them and just say, saw you missed the appointment. Do you want to rebook? And they may say, "Oh, I forgot. I got distracted. Where's your location again?" Those are the conversations you'll
Right.
have, and you'll get them right back. We even witnessed one where the front desk told somebody incorrect information that morning, and we had the doctor call that same patient with us talking on the phone, which was funny. And he booked that patient to come in that afternoon because he saw an opportunity. Like, I'm going to see if they still need help, and that's what he did, and it worked. So, but like we've said, like it has to be very intentional. It can't be haphazard because it just won't work properly. But it's something we definitely encourage.
I would say carve out time, middle of the day and end of the day to do repeat calls.
Yep.
All right. Last one is the local search visibility. I know this sounds pretty obvious, but are you showing up when people need you?
Yep.
Are you showing up when people need you? This can be, we're going to talk about the map 3-pack, which is the Google Maps section of a search. But ultimately, is your visibility can be tied to your social media? Your visibility can be tied to the Google ads that you're running. When I say local visibility, I am talking about the map 3-pack. So in the anatomy of a Google search, at the top, you're going to have the ads. The next thing that you're going to see is that map 3-pack. They only hold 3 urgent cares in that map 3-pack. You absolutely want to be one of them. All right. That's going to be driven by your rankings. That's going to be driven by the reviews, the citations that you build through directories, services like Yext and Brett Local and things like that. Here's the thing. I'm glad Hannah put this in here, is that the most common search term, period, is urgent care near me. And so what you want to do is within proximity of your clinic, either in your clinic or up to 3 to 5 miles out, run a search on your cell phone, run a search on your computer, and just put urgent care near me. That is the best indicator on whether or not you were showing up locally.
Specifically, do it in Google Maps on your phone.
Absolutely.
And you'll see exactly what's happening, and that gives you a real indicator of.
I like inclinator. That's a new good word. We'll take that.
Indicator of who your true competitors are, because we get all the, oh, it's the so and so down the street over here. Maybe
not according to Google.
But when you go walk outside your clinic, we say, like, hop in your car, drive to the next gas station or restaurant, a popular restaurant. Just pull up your phone and say urgent care near me, and you'll see your competitors. Hopefully you'll see you, and that's a good thing. But if you just don't see you and you're down the list, or it's like the classic, it shows your pinpoint but doesn't give a name beside it yet, it's because you're not that important yet to Google.
Love it. So. All right. Let's kick over. Here's a little bonus metric. We talked a little bit about it, and that's the repeat visit rate. Simply put, if you have 10 customers that came in the past year, how many of those 10 customers came back? Customers meaning patients, obviously, right? How many of those patients came back? I think at the frequency, most people are trying to get 23 patients per day. So look at it over a 6-month period. Of the 1,000 people, 5,000 people, 10,000 people that showed up in that 6-month period, what percentage of those people came back? Because that also is a good indicator of how good your brand is.
Yeah. I mean, because, one of the things that urgent care has is volume. And so when you have that much volume, you can kind of play with things a little bit and see, like, if I try this, I wonder if I'll see an impact or not. But measure your benchmark, right? So like you said, if it take over 6 months, how many of those had more than one visit?
Right.
And that will quickly tell you if people will like you and remember you.
That's right.
Yeah, it's a thing.
Yeah, and it is so much cheaper to get an existing patient to come back than it is to gain a new one.
Yeah.
So use the systems that you have, an Xperity or a Solve or an Athena or whatever you're using for your EMR. You can open that up and then you can send out a bulk test message. Hey, have you had your flu shot? Or hey, do you need a sports physical?
Yeah, segmented SMS is it can be very helpful.
All right, let's keep this train rolling. Here we go. All right, can you see how many booked patients came from your marketing last month? Are you able to see that on a report, a dashboard? Yes, maybe. No, not sure. I think kind of and not sure, pretty close. Right. I really hope you're able to see this. This is, in my opinion, the most important. This to me is like checking the blood pressure, right?
Yeah.
Like that's the first metric you're going to check to see the health of one. So.
And you do get limited by softwares on this. Right. There's some softwares that just won't allow it.
For sure.
Kind of perfect.
Drop in the chat what kind of means to you.
Yeah.
That's so all right, funny. Michael, let's keep us going.
Yeah, exactly.
All right.
So real quick on the dashboard side of things. So this is like a typical dashboard that we like to look at from a pure, like our CSMs looking at it and want to report back to our clients. They get a report similar to this, but these are the metrics that matter because anyway, so looking at this right now, so you have some things. Let me just kind of explain what this means, right? This is an actual screenshot of one of our dashboards of a client, relatively new client, by the way. I think they're like 45 days in with us. So take a look at all this. So average CPC, so that's cost per click, $2, $2.02. That's in our book. That's a good number.
Very good.
Anything under $5 for a cost per click is what we're shooting for. Clicks, cool number to see. Doesn't actually mean a whole lot yet, but we like to just see the numbers there. Conversion rate, 25%. That's a great number to us. Anything over 20%, we're in the right direction. And once again, that reminder is that a conversion that they clicked on the ad, and then when they landed somewhere, they engaged with an action, which in our world is click to call or click to book. That's where 99% of them go. Next, that translates to 757.98 conversions. The 0.98 is like, it's not a full follow through conversion or there's like a repeat conversion somewhere, but 758 conversions in a 30-day period, which is great because we're based off of a $6,000 ad spend, which is kind of ideal. The cost per conversion is $8. All world, that's fantastic. Anything under 10 is our goal.
That's our goal. I will make the claim that I think in 2026 we're going to start seeing $12 to $15
Maybe
as the norm, just simply because Google has intentions of raising the price.
Although your exposure on the hurricane stuff was fascinating yesterday.
That was fun, wasn't it?
Anyway, but that's a podcast episode.
We just went a whole different direction on vanity metrics.
Yeah, so fascinating. Anyway, cost per conversion $8. So in one shot right here, you say is this healthy or is this not? So for us, it would be marked as this is not healthy if the conversion rate was in like the 10 to 15% range. That's a problem. If the cost per conversion was like $25 to $45, that's a problem. But we can see that in one screen because this is what matters. Now we could give layers of additional information, but this is what we care about. Honestly, the two cost per conversion and conversions themselves, that's super important at the because that cost per conversion kind of sums it all up.
So here's the metrics that my team, when we're running ads for our clients, we want to look at. The first thing that we want to look at is we want to look at our conversion rate. Then we want to look at our cost per conversion. And then we want to look at our cost per click. Those are the three drivers of whether or not a campaign is going to be successful and how many conversions you're going to get.
Yeah, and so when you see impressions there, that just tells us, okay, at least it's being seen, so we're good there. Because we have had campaigns that we turned on 0 impressions for like 3 days. Like, hey, something's wrong, and we had to go find what the wrong was.
Well, so just imagine, stay here for 2 seconds, right? Imagine that we have a 25% conversion rate, which is amazing. Yeah. So how do these numbers affect one another? We have a 25% conversion rate, which is that's great. That's where we want to be.
Yep.
And our average cost per click went from $2 to $4, right? Which in a lot of people's eyes is pretty good, but not ours. Because what happens is your cost per conversion goes to $16,
yep,
and your conversion's cut in half,
yep,
with the exact same amount of money.
Yep. And it's the same amount of conversion rate.
Correct.
Technically.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Keep this the same.
Yeah.
Right. So that's what I'm talking about is how these things work all together actually matters. And so we monitor it very, very closely.
Yeah. They all feed each other. All right.
Thanks for letting me have that speech.
You're welcome.
Let's keep going.
And we just talked about this, and we're looking at different trends. So is your cost per acquisition, is it going down? Because your cost should go down, which means efficiency is going up. Lifetime value on channel, like are different channels delivering high value patients? Like, is it actually working, or is one channel dominating everything? You don't really always want that because it's hard to put all your eggs in one basket and just because something could change, and that's not what you want. Local search visibility, are you increasing your overall rankings like we talked about? When you do that search, are you going up? Because the best part with local search is the cost for bookings is very inexpensive because you're usually just paying a management fee for the actions to be done to increase your rankings.
Or you're really good at doing it yourself.
Or you're doing it yourself, but there's no cost per click model. So it's very flat on that, which it could be, the ideal situation is producing bookings for a couple of dollars essentially. So that's the idea. And as we always say, if you're gonna what you track is what you'll improve. That's a pretty common thing in the business world. If you want something to improve, you have to just focus on it, and you got to find benchmarks, and you got to see, is it going up or is it going down? Let me make a change. Did it go up? Did it go down? And eventually you'll get it in the right track. But that's just how business works. Yeah. All right. So these are the three like fun scenarios, but real. Once again, I found a lovely, gigantic audit of an account that just hurt my eyes when I saw it. This is a urgent care, multi-location urgent care out of New Jersey. This is a 90-day pull on data. Half a million impressions in 90 days. That sounds super.
That's a lot of eyeballs.
It's a lot of eyeballs. I mean, that's probably like an entire city, right? 42,000 clicks. Oh man, that's a lot. 12, but only 1,260 conversions. It costs them $351,000 to see 1,200 patients, potentially 1,200 patients. So you're pushing almost a $300 conversion, just like the one I mentioned early on. These numbers are painful, but they're real. So once again, we talked about the values of the metrics, value metric versus vanity. This is super obvious where the conversions mean nothing, right? They're like less than 1,300 conversions that cost 300. I could have bought a house, or I could have had maybe 1,300 patients that may or not have shown up. Like it's mind blowing, but it happens. Like, and if you're looking at your own stuff right now and this is a number you've seen, don't beat yourself up, but you should investigate and see why this is actually happening right now. Because the other part you don't see in this is that those 1,260 conversions, that was data sent back to Google. So you told Google 1,300 times, this is what we want. So it's going to just say, oh, yeah. I mean, $278 conversion. This is a great number because it's what you told me what you wanted. So something is wrong. Just something is completely wrong. And this is just things that we see. We run audits, and it's kind of sad to watch. But lesson there, the giant traffic, all like, man, look at all me, because 42,000 clicks. If they're sending it to like their website, their analytics look incredible. Like,
Right.
wow, they got thousands upon thousands of visitors to their site, but they're not doing anything with it. So it's that classic example. Because when we have people we talk to, so well, my analytics shows this. Well, that's cool, but your analytics doesn't tell much of a story. You really have to dig a lot deeper in that. And I think people get confused on like, oh, I should send all my ad traffic to my homepage. No, you really shouldn't, especially for multi-location. That's going to harm you. I don't think people catch that. Next is, so this is a fun one. So this is a client of ours. They've been with us for a long time. So this is a Texas-based urgent care. So 30 days. This is a cool one to me. So not low budget, right? So this is we joke with him. He's like, hey, you should increase your budget. He's like, no, I'm good. Like, okay. So very bare minimum budget. We don't even recommend this low of a budget anymore, but he's been around for a while. So 400, this is the last 30 days. This is brand new live data I pulled today just to make sure I was accurate. So $496, 94 conversions, $5.28 a conversion. That is like the best you could probably find.
I was gonna say that's about as good as it gets right there.
About as good as it gets. But some of this is that we're very focused on the target. We have a small budget, so we got to be very efficient at what we're doing. And then we've been working on this for such a long time, couple of years, like we've dialed it in. And so these are numbers that you can't argue with at all. But I just want to show you, like, you can achieve amazing numbers, but it's not an instant switch. I think a lot of people want instant wins out of the gate. Like, well, no, sometimes it takes time. Google's got to learn you and love you, and then you got to do the right thing. So, and it's just like any type of advertising. If you are consistent with the agency you're working with, they're going to take care of you even more so, or prioritize you. Same with ad platforms. If you're consistent with them, they're going to take care of you and they're going to prioritize you. All right. And then here's the map pack one. This is the Oklahoma-based urgent care that we've been working with for 12 months now. So we do their SEO work and some other things, pulled some data. And once we got them into the map 3 pack for the profitable keywords, so they had a couple of keywords that were in the map 3 pack, but there were some key ones like urgent care, walk-in clinic, pediatric urgent care, like those mattered in their scenario. And so we saw the patient volume grow, and best I could tell is about an average across the location, about 63% increase overall. So that's the part where it matters. But notice I put 12-month SEO. SEO is not a fast game. We talk about ads a lot on most of our stuff, but SEO is that classic. This can really make an impact, but it's not instant. It takes a while. takes more than 90 days usually, unless something magical does happen. But 12 months of SEO work and you get this type of result, that's what you want. So it's super cool. But this is where, at the end of the day, like this is just that classic example of just consistent, focused effort. You get the results that you're hoping for. So, all right. So, Nick, how do you stack up?
I don't know. Let's find out together. Here we go. Here's some benchmarks. Your cost per lead, took action, called you, requested directions, hit your online scheduler. That should range anywhere between $10 and $18. Your cost per acquisition needs to be less than $30. The industry average for urgent care is $45 cost per acquisition. This is what it costs to get a patient through your door. The reason I say it should be less than $30 is because our average is 22 and we want you to win. What is your conversion rate? This is lead that goes to a booked appointment. Okay, we talked about if I had 100 phone calls that through a Google ad, 60 to 70% of those should be turning into patients for you. So we put the low end at 60% plus should be going from a lead to a converted booked appointment. All right. And then let's calculate that lifetime value. I talked about it earlier. If it's a $350 to $1,500 per patient lifetime value, depending on a couple of factors. One, how long are they with you through the lifetime? We put it at 5 years. How many visits are they at your clinic? We put it at 2. And then how much money are you making on this? $150. I know it goes all the way up to about 220 and then all the way down to about, I think I heard 90 one time, which that's something's very
Well,
right
you
in
just
there.
go negotiate your rates.
Yeah, this is so I tried to put it smack in the middle. So if you're making $150 on a patient and they visit you twice a year and you keep them for 5 years, the lifetime value of your patient is going to be $1,500. All right. And yes, these numbers vary. You need to know your numbers because you can make great decisions when you know your numbers. All right. So a couple of variance context here. These are just starting points, right? These are just starting points, but we wanted to give you the foundation. They're going to vary based on where you are in the country, how many competitors are in your market. Do you have a good location? We have one urgent care whom we love dearly that are in like a business park, and it doesn't make much sense. Somehow they have managed to make that work, right? What is your service mix? Okay. Do you just do pediatrics? Do you just do geriatrics? Do you do everybody, right? Like just
care.
I don't know. That's the thing.
That's
Could be.
funny.
Could be. I feel like that would have to be a mobile version.
No, they need an urgent care that's inside of senior living facilities.
Actually, that would be genius. So pediatrics, injuries, occupational health, all the different things, weight loss. And then you have to know your local patient demographics. Are you in a low income area and very heavy on Medicaid, Medicare? Are you in a well-to-do situation where it's a very monetized
Where the
market?
experience matters.
Yeah, exactly. Where they care more about having a high-end, high-level, they want to walk into this beautiful cafe of a clinic. But focus on the area and improve the numbers where you can. And then we're going to stop measuring the noise. We're going to start measuring growth. We care about what's growing your clinic, not what looks good on paper.
Yeah.
All right. How often does your team review value metrics like cost per lead, cost per acquisition, lifetime value? Is this a monthly thing, a weekly thing? Are you not tracking at all? Like this is news to you?
I wonder if anybody does it annually. Didn't put that one in, but because I know it's kind of easy sometimes just to look at how many patients did you get over 2025 versus 2024.
Right.
But you got to dig a little deeper because there's a lot of seasonality to your business.
I was going to say seasonally would have probably been the best way to put this.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you why I say seasonally. Seasonally, in that a season in Alabama is very different than a season in New York.
Yeah.
Right. Our cold season starts if we even have one, ours starts in February, where in New York, it starts in like November. Very different, right? So seasonality would be a great way to measure that.
Well,
all right. We got weekly and monthly.
Weekly and monthly. That's cool. I like to see that.
Right.
Well, even we were chatting the other day with a new client and how summers are typically the slowest time of the year,
right?
Except for 2025. 2025, the summer wasn't a huge summer, but it wasn't slow. And for whatever reason, September, October, and parts of November have been slow.
Yeah.
And there's whole reasonings behind that. But
listen to an upcoming podcast.
Yeah, we have a podcast to talk about
hurricane and urgent care.
Yeah, hurricane, urgent care.
Hurricane.
But it's one of those things that we actually recognize where you can even go look at search trends and show like this demand is just down at the moment.
It is.
And it's just part of the game you have to play. You have to take all those factors in place because it's really not great to have make a decision based on one single metric or report. You need to look at all factors. I think the seasonality is super important because it shows, yeah, this was a busy season. Did we capitalize on it or not? So just looking at that. So for me, I like looking at all things that point toward the answer and making sure we're not just assuming something because that causes issues. So.
That's good. Let's keep going. We'll take it out here. So, how do we shift from vanity to value? Go ahead and take this one.
Yeah. So look, step one, what are you actually tracking right now? Is it a real value metric or is just the vanity side? Like, is this what, like we just went through today? I mean, you guys are like staring at impressions or staring at click-through rates or saying, hey, that's a really great number. Like, is it? Does it matter? It may be a really great number, but does it actually have impact? And then once you've identified that, you always want to audit first. Next, you kind of set up, what are my new KPIs? You know, how's it tied to my clinic growth goals? Do I have clinic growth goals? And we actually had a fantastic one come to us. It's a client's been with for a while. He's like, I want to do a 10% revenue growth in 2026. Cool. That's achievable.
Man, I can do that. Let's go.
That's achievable and it makes sense. And you're a mature clinic. You're not brand new, so you're not asking for crazy numbers. And you're like, I am profitable, but I want to just grow what I got. And so that's what you want to hear, right? And then talking about looking at different quarters and seasonality, are you on track or not? Because one of the biggest problems that we've had internally before is that we'll set a big goal and just it doesn't we don't have all the eggs in the right spot, and all of a sudden like that goal doesn't make sense anymore. And so it's discouraging, or like I'm not going to track it, doesn't make sense, and then you just forget about it. Next, once you've set up those goals, are your campaigns and budgets actually focused on achieving those goals? Are they focused on the conversions? Are they focused on like, hey, I'm trying to increase revenue to my client by 10%. What does that look like? Do I need to, I probably should increase budgets because doing the same thing over and over again, hoping for a different result is insanity, right? And so it'd be really weird if you say, I'm going to grow, I'm going to double my business, but do nothing to make that happen. It's not going to work. Hope doesn't work in business.
That's right.
You got to put some action to it. Next, finally, this is where we have to be careful. You got to hold your marketing team agency to clear expectations. And I've added the last little line here, don't move the goalpost. It's just to let you know, as a marketing person, as an agency, when we have our kickoff and you tell us you're at 25 patients per day and your ultimate goal is 45 or 50 patients per day, and we hit it and you're like, well, I actually wanted at 60. That's not cool. It's just not cool because like you moved the goalpost and you moved it, and then now you're trying to increase accountability. Well, fine. If we move the goalpost, there's going to be changes that have to happen, and you can't just say, well, I want you to hit the new goal, but change nothing, and I'm going to hold you accountable to the new goal. Well, that's not really fair to anybody. If you want to make somebody quit on you, that's a good way to doing it.
Actually, a very important thing is once you hit the defined metrics, I'm at $10 cost per acquisition. I'm at 25% conversion rate. I'm at $2 cost per click. The way to move the goal post is to increase your ad spend.
Yeah.
That's how you do it.
Yeah. When you checked off all the proper metrics that matter and you can identify patient growth based off of those, like it all lines up. You're like, cool. Now it's just a budget number. Like if I'm doing $100 a day, but I have all the proper metrics in place and I want to 2x my business, I should probably move to $200 or $300 a day.
Let me say it a different way. If you got all these metrics in place and you want to increase without changing your budget, you need to go to Google.
Yeah.
The metrics are the metrics, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like if everything is dialed in, don't beat up your team member who's hitting the metrics properly.
Yeah.
Don't beat up your agency who's hitting the metrics properly. Go to the source. It's Google who increased your price. We didn't get less effective.
Yeah, exactly.
Right, so let's keep going. Awesome. So implementation roadmap. First of all, there's a QR code up on the screen. I want you to get that audit form from Patient Care Marketing Pros. But month one, we're going to audit the current tracking and we're going to get the metrics in line. What is the baseline? Two, we're going to reallocate the budget. And we want to put these in the channels that are actually performing, the ones that are getting you leads and booked appointments and like what's bringing patients through the door. You're going to know that once you get this audit tool in place. Number three, we want a performance review. We call it try, fail, adjust, right?
Yeah.
So once you have a performance review, look at the goals, change the goals that you need to do, and then align your budget for that next quarter. Okay. Finally, we want to track this at an ongoing level, and we want to make sure that your team and your KPIs are all aligned. All right. Again, we're going to go back to it. Don't adjust the goalpost, define the goalpost, and then you can adjust accordingly.
Yep.
Okay. Um, I like to do this little exercise. It comes across as a sales pitch. That is not what I'm trying to do here.
But
Right?
we're doing a reality check of what your actual options are.
Correct. Right. So there's three ways that you can execute on this. You can do it yourself, you can have a team member, or you can have an agency provide these services for you. There are pros and cons of each one. I'm not even going to read this. I'm just going to tell you what they are. There is a cost of doing business, even if you do it for yourself. You are either going to pay somebody to do this for you, or you're going to have the cost of either missed expectations, not knowing what you're doing, the cost of not seeing patients
Yeah.
instead of seeing patients, you're now doing your own marketing. Saving money does not make you money. You cannot save your way to growth. You can't save your way to
No,
growth.
you really can't.
Right.
And if you need a quick math number, so let's say you're paying yourself $100,000 a year. That means you're worth $50 an hour. It's quick, easy math. How many hours per week are you putting into the DIY side of this? And then once you establish that, you're like, well, if I'm putting 5 hours a week, that's $250. And I'm doing it consistently. Well, I'm spending $1,000 of my time a month to do this. Should I go look at somebody else to do it? And like you said, if you're also the doctor who's seeing patients, you are now removing an hour or 5 hours a week, or however it ends up being, from seeing a patient, because a patient can be seen in 43 minutes. That's the average, right? So 43-minute patient ideal situation. Well, goodness, that's a one or two patients an hour that you could be giving up as well, which is worth $200. All of a sudden, that $1,000 that you spent plus the missed opportunity of another 1,000, 2,000 plus off a patient you can't see at the moment. Now you have a bigger problem. So that's where the DIY, you have to measure all the things that are happening, because you can say, oh, yeah, I mean, I sat down this morning for 2 hours and knocked this thing out. I think it's cool. Well, what could you have done with those 2 hours, right? And then you also don't have best practices because you haven't spent time educating yourself as well, which does take time. There's a lot of layers to it, but it does make sense at the very beginning. If you're a startup, we get it. Like, you got to be careful with your money. But like you said, you cannot save your way to growth. Really can't.
Right. Next phase, we add a team member. I actually like this, by the way. We don't have a problem with team members. I think they are going to be the most aligned with your goals, your vision, your values. I think they're going to be able to execute on a very relevant way, especially in the social media. Here's some of the challenges: is they do cost a lot, and they can't be a unicorn. They can't do they can't do SEO, Google Ads, social media posting. They can't do all of that effectively. But they're going to be closer aligned with your direction, and there's daily alignment, not just monthly or quarterly alignment,
Yep.
right? And then you have an agency. An agency, most likely, if they're anything like us, they're going to have a team of experts in every one of these departments. They're not going to be there with you every single day, but they are with you every single week. And that is outsourcing your DIY to an agency.
Yeah.
And we have the systems in place. We have the team that we have hired and vetted and put the right people in place. And for a niche like us, we're fully in on urgent care. That is what we do. We do urgent care marketing all day, every day. So those are the three levels. Obviously, if you want to get on a phone call, our team can show you what we do, how we can execute this for you. Happy to do those things, and it is no obligation. We just want to show you what's working for you, what's not, and maybe how we can fill in the gap.
Well, this is a quick number two. I want to mention, not number two, but also we find that most multi-location urgent cares do an internal team member for marketing when they hit that 5 to 6 location mark, and then they start looking at potential internal. And then what happens is that they bring in the internal helps with strategy, and then they find agencies to kind of fill the gaps. That tends to be the flow that we see.
Yep. Lots of really great urgent cares that have an internal marketing director that outsources the things that they don't do themselves.
Yep.
All right, let's give you some resources here. I'm going to skip the key takeaways for time. But here's the thing. Number one, we want you to join the wait list for the Clinic Growers Mastermind. This is going to be an amazing event. And I'm not talking about like lights and flash. What I'm talking about is real clinic owners sitting around a round table, asking real questions and solving real problems.
Yep.
Not just the fluff. There's not going to be any vendors there. There's not going to be any sales there. This is just
It's,
simply a
it's
way to grow.
us and urgent care owners and a very dedicated agenda about having conversations with other urgent care owners.
And you and Michael may be asking the question, but you guys don't own an urgent care. You're absolutely right. We don't own urgent care. However, we've worked with hundreds of locations and we can give you some very valuable insights on what we're seeing in markets that you're not in.
Yep.
Right.
And as Hannah says, we're really fun to hang out with.
Yeah, also we're good.
Also, yeah, Hannah is like our mini stud star person in the UCA world. Where now when we go to events, they'll say, "Hey, I recognize your podcast. Also, do you know Hannah?" We're like, "Yeah, we know Hannah."
We were at the Southern Regional Conference, and they're like, I don't know why you're here. Hannah and Grace do it better.
Yeah, exactly. They were
You're
kind
not
of
entirely wrong.
We're surprised we were
Yeah,
there.
sorry, I'm not better looking. All right, here's some resources. These are I mean, we want you to grow. We want to give you the resources that you need. And if you have a DIY mentality or you have an in-house marketing team, these are not haphazardly put together. These are real things that we use that we're giving you that you can go implement in your clinic today. And we want you to take advantage of it. All right, scan it, scan it, scan it. What questions do you have for us? Hannah, are there any questions in the chat? If not, we'll close out.
See any right now.
Okay, cool.
Awesome. Well, listen, I want to thank you for coming.
Yeah, glad you guys came on. We love doing this monthly webinar. We have a weekly podcast as well, and we'll probably record one today.
Yeah.
Anyway, and then we'll have another one. So next month, we're getting you guys ready for 2026. So we have a webinar coming up next month, right before Christmas time. We know it's always crazy, but you have to start thinking about next year. It's never good to think about next year when you're in February.
Don't think about next year.
Yeah, you think about now, and you start preparing. And so we'll talk about that. And then we're hoping to have some a guest webinar speaker. I think January.
Yes, that's the plan.
Yeah. So that'll come out. More details will come out for that. And then, like we said, on the wait list for the mastermind, love to have you guys engage on that. Just submit your info if you have interest, and we'll be following up with you, of course. If anything, you guys have a wonderful Thanksgiving, and we'll see you next time.
See ya.
See ya.